What up, guys? What's going on, Celtic Nation? And I have brought along a special guest for the evening to join us today for the podcast as we talk some Celtics and Sixers. What's up, D? Darian from the Spotlight Sports Network, Spotlight Raiders Talk, and what else, Steve? Anything else?
It's just Spotlight Sports Network and Spotlight Raiders Talk. You know,
Spotlight
it's
Sports
all
Network.
under
What's up,
one
man?
entity. So yeah, if coming from the Spotlight Sports Network, happy to be back on here to talk basketball because last time I was on here we talked football.
We did football.
So now we could talk basketball. What's up, Bobby? What's up, man?
What's up, dude? That was so let's kind of dive right into this for the game, man. That was a good back and forth yesterday. They pushed each other. They pushed each other back and forth, and you know, getting challenged, I think, like that early on in the season is a good thing. You know, having to play a game like that, a hard fought rivalry game where you're going to have to really you're going to have to really work for a W is never a bad thing.
It's never a bad thing. It was actually a great game. I was looking forward to being a good game, knowing that this rivalry is getting reinvented now, knowing that you have the Marcus Smarts and the Joel Embiids going back and forth, and the trash talking is coming back as well. So I was looking forward to this being a physical game. I was looking forward to this to be a back and forth game. I didn't think that y'all was going to blow us out or we was going to blow y'all out. I didn't see it as that. That's why they nationally televised that game for a reason. But absolutely, man, absolutely, it was a hell of a game.
So let's kind of dive into some of the I don't want to say analytical side of it, but let's kind of break it down a little bit.
Okay.
The Celtics have struggled in the third quarter, pretty much, you know, counting last year, and then it's kind of followed suit into this year. And I think that's where the 76ers really made their mark, was that third quarter. The third and then they carried that momentum with them right into the fourth. But I think that third quarter really was when the Sixers came out and they set the tone early in that third quarter.
Yeah, we set the tone early, really to break down from the first half. Y'all really had us on the ropes in the first half because Kemba Walker came out scoring 15 points in that first half.
Red hot. Couldn't miss. And I was screaming at the live stream, like, why you keep going over top of the pick when you just go under the pick? Just do that and force somebody else to shoot the ball. But they didn't listen to me, of course. But Jaylen Brown was scorching us in the first half too. And I was just like, these guys, even without Jason Tatum, they are still so special players. But the second half, I don't know where the juice went. I feel like we actually picked up the pace in the second half, especially in that third quarter, because we was down, it was like 61-58 at the half, if I'm not mistaken. It was 61-58 at the half. It was a close game, man.
Yeah, it was a close game, and then I think y'all largest lead was like 12 that y'all had on us, even in that second half, even though that y'all struggled in that third quarter, but y'all still was able to get the lead back and forth. But I feel like the Sixers did was they pushed the pace. Once they got the rebound, they pushed the pace, and that's where a lot of y'all big men could not get back.
The fast break
was running the floor too.
Yeah, the fast break in the third quarter ate them up. They couldn't get back on D in time. Yeah,
and that's why I think the Celtics was able to be fatigued in the fourth, because we was running and gunning in that third quarter.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. They looked gas in the fourth, and they just, on top of that too, the fourth quarter, they just went. I mean, talk about a time the worst time ever to go ice cold from the field. Right. Their shots just weren't falling. And then you guys, rebounding for you guys in the fourth was phenomenal. Too. The rebounding in the fourth quarter for you guys, the second chances that the Sixers got in the fourth quarter was phenomenal. The second chance opportunities was what got you guys that's what got you guys the lead, and the foul shooting for you guys was good. You guys were very good from the line. The Sixers were very good. They were, I think they had, I want to say 45 free throws, I think.
That's about 45 3
45 and I think they hit I think they were shooting like almost 70% of it. You guys shot really well from the line, and that was I mean, think about that too. That's a given 25 30 points.
Right.
Easy, easy 25 30 points.
I think y'all was just going as much as the foul line as the Sixers was too. I think it was about the same.
Yeah.
As many times that y'all went to the foul line, because we went to the foul line as much as y'all, because each possession it was a foul being called. That's how physical the game was,
Oh yeah, yeah. And it's those are the and let's so that's a good kind of segue into what let's kind of drop into it next. That was the officiating of this game was rough, man. It for both sides it was bad. Like they ticky-tack penalties both ways. Like it was like you couldn't even play defense. It's almost like you just had to let them shoot and then go back the other way.
It was one of the worst officiating games in the regular season I ever seen. I've never seen officiating so bad, and it was a lot of calls that should have been reviewed on both sides, not just the Sixers, but for the Celtics as well. But in that first half, you can't lie, Bobby. Y'all was getting a lot of those calls, those little ticky-tacky calls. Y'all was getting it was a lot of flopping going on both sides as well. But that first half, I was like living. Like every time we play the Celtics,
you know what? That's
every call.
That's the sad part too. Is like the like I get like flopping and something like that, but it's gotten bad, man. Like just play the game. Like just play the game. If a flop happens, like I would rather see a ref swallow the whistle and not call it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And just be like, come on, dude, get up. Like get up. That's not a foul. You flopped.
Right.
Like almost like encourage them not to do it.
Just go back and review it to see if it was a flop. Because sometimes you can see it from a different angle, and then you go back and look at it and review it, and then you be like, "Oh yeah, it was a flop." So
but I remember watching some of those reviews too. Like we talked about the physicality of the game. Like, dude, people were getting elbows, like catching elbows in the face. Yeah. Like there was I counted 6 times where either a Sixer or a Celtic caught an elbow in the face from just guys going for rebounds, fighting for rebounds. It was a physical game, man. They were beating each other up under the hoop.
Oh, they was getting physical up there, especially between Tyson and Embiid. Them two were going back and forth. They have a history of playing each other every single year. But now you have Tristan Thompson on your team now. That makes it even more. He's a good defensive big man. He's not really a good offensive big man, but defensively, he's really good. So that was definitely looking forward to seeing that matchup as well, especially if we end up playing y'all in the playoffs.
Now it's funny you said, it's funny you mentioned Thompson, because I read a couple of different articles and they were saying that a big reason they brought Tristan Thompson here to Boston was because they were worried about Joel Embiid, and he was supposed to be able to play defense against him with help and slow him down. And that was not the case last. I mean, no one could slow him down. The guy got 40. What do you have? 42, right?
42 points. I think he had 42 and he had 12 boards, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he had I'm pretty sure he had a triple double. I think he had a triple double last night.
Let's find out.
I know he had 42. That guy. And I know he had 10 boards. I don't know on the assists. I know that. I know he had double digit boards. But you know what I mean? Like that if they brought Thompson in to slow him down, then it didn't work. It didn't work because Embiid just going through everybody last night. It didn't matter if they switched on him. It didn't matter if it didn't matter who they put. He's right. Even with Tice, Embiid is what, 7-1, right?
About 7-1, yeah. And he had 42, 10, and 2. Only had 2 assists.
Yeah, so he was close. You know what I mean? Like he that was a good game for him. But so Tice is like 6'9", I think. I think he's 6'9".
About 6'9", 6'10" ish.
But I don't know. Like that was just a mismatch all night. Like Embiid on Tice was tight. Like He's just too big and too physical. That's Tice
Yeah,
did everything he could.
and we're seeing Joel Embiid's potential as well, knowing that when Doc Rivers made this guy early right now, they talking about Embiid being MVP caliber because he's playing MVP caliber basketball. But I mean, with Tristan Thompson, yeah, I think that'll be a better matchup instead of Tice because Tice is too small for Embiid. Embiid look like he lost weight. He look a little bit more agile. He look a bit more elusive as well. You know, run up and down the court. He's getting those hard rebounds. He's getting those blocks off a fast break. So
Yeah.
Embiid is playing very effective. And he's playing smart. That's what I like about it. He's playing more smart basketball.
Now let's talk about a previous Celtic and now you guys as head coach Doc Rivers. What do you think Rivers' impact on so in Boston, he was a decent coach, but what he was really good at, and I think this is just coming from my point of view looking at the Sixers, I think the organization brought him in there to not so much as a pure X's and O's coach guy, but to get all those egos to play together like he did in Boston with Garnett, with Allen, and with Pierce.
Right.
And he did, and especially you add Rondo into that mix. That was a lot. That 08 team was a lot of egos, and Rivers did really good at making sure, yeah, guys, look,
the Eagles wasn't checked.
Yeah, you might not like each other. You know, you may have your issues with each other, but look, we're a team. We got a ball game to go win. Go take care of business, work together. You know, that was him. That was him as a coach. His ego management skills have been phenomenal. That's always been a big part of his game is he's very good at getting guys to play together. So, I mean, what do you think? Do you think that's gonna his impact on the Sixers will be?
I mean, because we don't have many egos on our team anyway, knowing that Tobias Harris don't have that type of ego. Tobias Harris is more like a laid back type of dude. Really don't say too much. When he has to say something, he'll say it.
Yeah.
But I think the only person that really needs to have the ego in check was Joel Embiid. And you see that he didn't really get out of line so far this season. He hasn't gotten out of line and did anything. But I can say what Doc Rivers has done. He held players accountable for what they did wrong. That's the one thing that we missed when we had Brett Brown as our former head coach, as our coach. He didn't hold no players accountable. He didn't tell them anything. I think Doc Rivers is more of a disciplined coach, and he brought in a staff to be just as disciplined to help these players develop and bring out their full potential.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the problem is with Ben Simmons, which we will get into that in the next probably subject or anything of that nature. But I feel like if Ben Simmons doesn't follow the way Doc Rivers want things going, Ben Simmons is going to be going.
Yeah,
and you know what? I don't have a problem with it. I don't.
They'll put someone in there that will.
Right.
Or they'll find someone else.
And I feel like Doc Rivers need to change it up a little bit in the starting lineup. I mean, why not have Seth and Shake at the 1 and 2? You can put Ben at the 4 the way he played.
Seth didn't play last night, right?
I don't. For some reason, I don't know why he didn't play last night. I know he had the COVID-19 situation, but he's been quarantined. But he's been quarantined and been through the protocols for so long. I don't know why he was inactive last night.
Yeah, I thought they said, from what I heard, he was eligible. He was eligible to play. That's what I thought I heard, that he was eligible to play.
I don't know if it was an injury or whatever. I don't know. But I mean, sometimes in that starting lineup, you need 2 smaller guards that can shoot, and you can be more movement around the balls. One thing, the problem with Ben Simmons with me is I felt like in this game against Boston, he was forcing it.
Yeah.
He was forcing. He was not letting the game come to him. He was trying to go to the game. Like, no, you got to let the game come to you. You got to give what the defense is giving you. And right now, they're giving you a jump shot, which you can't shoot. So
yeah, but it's funny though, because as soon as Simmons would get close to the hoop, the defense for the Celtics would close in on him because they know that's where he's a big, tall, physical guy, and he works well closer to the hoop. So what did they do to him all game? They kept him at at 10, 12 feet. You know, they kept him at that 12-foot mark. And they very rarely, you saw what happened when he got down close to the hoop. He'd just go through guys and dunk it. And they couldn't stop him because he was too, that's his game. His game is up close and personal and physical like that. It's never been like a jump shot, a 3-point shot. It's always been close to the rim and just use your height and your size to your advantage.
Now, I really don't ask for a 3-point shot when it comes to Ben Simmons. I'm just asking for like a 15-footer. I'm not asking for anything.
A mid-range.
That's all. If you could get a mid-range shot and move, definitely move without the ball. Somebody set a pick from you coming around and you just pull up and shoot that shot. That is fine with me. I'm not really caring about the 3-point shot because we had Tobias Harris and Steph Curry, even court miles for that. So I'm not really worried about you shooting a 3. It's about the mid-range. That's my problem.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. So let's kind of get into the whole what am I trying to say here? So I want your opinion. I know we kind of talked about this earlier.
Mm-hmm.
If you could replace Simmons with someone, who would you put in his place? Would you start one of your guys or would you try and trade him and get someone in there? Because I think you guys you're not far away from being a very, like, the talent's there. Tobias Harris is a very good shooter. Seth is a shooter. Shake and Milton's he's a solid piece. You know, like the team is solid, man. I think they just need a guy who can fill in, who can go in, plug and play in Simmons' spot. He doesn't have to be an excellent 3-point shot, but just he's got to be able to hit the 12 to 15-foot shot.
Right. I mean, right now I'm still thinking that we should trade Ben Simmons to get a guard that can shoot that mid-range or shoot the 3 or be a facilitator, to be in a backcourt with Steph Curry. But as of right now, if I am the 76ers, me personally, like, I will put Ben at the 4 and then I will put Milton. I'll put Milton at the 2 with Steph Curry at the 1. Put Tobias Harris at the 3. You put Ben at the 4. You have Embiid at the 5. I think that's the best 5 right there. I mean, and then you have Tyrese Maxey come off the bench. But now, knowing that Steph Curry is out, it could be Tyrese Maxey and Milton at the 1 and the 2. Still put Tobias at the 3. Put Ben at the 4. Ben is 6'10" with a 7'2" wingspan. He could play down there. He could play down there. So
he's always been a guy who can play big like that. Like, I wouldn't have a huge problem putting him in the 4 spot because of his size, because he is as big as he is.
And we've seen so many players in the NBA play a stretch 4. You could play a stretch 4 with Ben Simmons if he had the shot. But only reason why I say that, because when he becomes, if you notice one thing about Ben Simmons, that guy doesn't have a ball handle. You can really see it in Ben Simmons. He does not have a ball handle. So if I am the 76ers, have him move it out the ball or put him in the post against someone that's smaller than him. Why not do it? You sometimes as a coach, you gotta work to your player's strengths. And I feel like sometimes Doc Rivers, yes, he does have the athletic ability to be a guard, but at the same time, he's going up against smaller guards in this league. Put that man in the post and put him at the stretch 4. I mean, for real, he can play any position on the floor. Like, he's not LeBron James, but he could play every position like LeBron James.
I've always thought that he was in the wrong position. Ever since he came into the league, I've always thought that they listed him at the wrong position.
I agree. I wasn't really a big fan of Ben Simmons coming out of college anyway, because he didn't have a shot at LSU either. So it wasn't no big difference for me, but the Sixers love big men. The Sixers love tall players. After the whole AI situation, after they went short, they end up going tall, and you see what happened. We got
the whole AI kind of era was that small ball. You know what I mean? They played that small ball style.
It was a small guard era at that time.
Yeah. So and then they saw the shift in the league, and they were trying to, trying to adapt to that.
And everybody can't be as big and strong as LeBron James. So like you still
AI was one of my favorite
small guards out there. Don't get me wrong, but most of them are at least over 6'6" at least.
AI was one of my favorite non-Celtics too, by the way.
He used to sport y'all, man. My boy AI used to kill y'all, man.
I know. You don't have to remind me. Believe me, I lived through it. I know he did. He used to torch us.
I used to go to all the Sixers game when AI played them, when we go down to the Wells Fargo Center, at the time it was the Civic Center. So like it was definitely different back then. And it was in the Spectrum as well. So I remember those days playing, with those black jerseys. I don't know if y'all remember, but
the black Sixer jersey were they were nice jerseys.
This logo on it. Why?
Yeah.
I need the Sixers to wear these jerseys this year. Please do.
Yeah. That was that black Sixers jersey with the red pinstripe was probably the best. That was one of their best looking jerseys.
I love those jerseys, man. I love them. They was swing, man. They had the Nike sign. Oh man, I got the AI one here. I got it right here, man. I could have threw that on today, but I was like, nah, I'm not gonna throw it on today.
So let's look forward to the next one. So Friday night we play y'all again.
Mm-hmm.
What do you? So you saw how they attacked the Celtics in this the first time. Would you kind of stick with that? Would you stick with how they used Embiid and just kind of just telling them, force the ball, just use, would you stick with that or would you switch it up? Because
I will stick with it, but I will make adjustments because Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens is a guy that's off adjustments. He's going to look at game film. He's going to see what we did wrong against Embiid. So if I'm Doc Rivers, yes, I say go with Embiid, but we still need to get other players going. Yes, Embiid has 42. I don't think he could put up another 42 points in back-to-back games. I just don't see it happening. I can see him putting at least 25 up, but Tobias got to touch the ball a little bit more in some creative spaces. If we have Seth Curry, that's a different story. If we have him, he could definitely run the offense. But Brad Stevens is coming to make adjustments. Trust to believe.
Yeah. He there's no way Embiid will score 40. On Friday. There's no way. They'll do something. Whether they double him, and make him give it up, or whether they try and keep him back off. They might try and push him back to the foul line, and instead of just getting those easy Embiid, I think his best shot is that little 6-footer where he just turns it around, that little hook shot, that little turnaround, the spin, that little spin hook shot is his best shot, because all he does is put that arm up, and that's one of the hardest shots for guys, for any, unless you're the same size as him, to defend, because you can't. And unless you get right up in his face, and that's not an easy task either.
It's not, because he's good for the pump fake, and he does have that little fadeaway jump shot now that he's been consistently making since the season started.
Yeah, from the elbow.
Like he'll do a little shimmy, and then he'll give his fadeaway jump shot sometimes, or he could just square you up and shoot that jump shot. So
yeah,
I think a little bit now he's getting consistent with that jump shot. It makes it a little bit more hard to defend him. He's not just a guy that go to the basket. And you see that even in a fast break, if he comes down, he can Euro step for his size. I've never seen a big man really Euro step that the way he does. It's slow as ever, but it's effective.
One of the things I thought was interesting was how they attacked Jaylen Brown in that game. They doubled every time Jaylen Brown touched the ball. They doubled him immediately. Right. It was as soon as Brown touched the basketball, they would shift and double, and they made him. Most of the time, I would want to say maybe 65-70% of the time, Brown had to give that basketball up because he had nowhere to go with it.
Because Brown is a hell of an athlete, man.
I mean, he still got 20 points out of it, but like you could tell that they were trying to make they were trying to make somebody outside of Jaylen Brown beat them.
Right. And at that time in the first half, it was Kemba Walker outside of Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, that was
You
his
did
shot.
have, I think his name Pritchard, if I'm not mistaken. He made a clutch three as
Yeah,
well. But you got to watch him though, because he does get physical bringing the ball up. And we saw that. We
yeah.
saw that. And I was like, oh my God, if they don't call a foul on this kid. Because I mean, I saw him in preseason when we played.
He plays bigger than he is.
He played really good.
He plays bigger than he is, which is surprising because you don't expect a little dude like that to be as aggressive as he is. He's kind of like a mini Marcus Smart. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. But he's not a trash talker like Marcus Smart, man. He's not a trash talker. He's not a flopper either. Marcus Smart is kind of a flopper.
But you need, like, it's kind of funny how the Boston teams have a guy like that. Like Brad Marchand is that guy for the Bruins. You know what I mean? You need a guy like that. Like Embiid brings the edge for the Sixers. Like you could tell he's in guys' faces and he's not putting up with anything on the. You need a guy. At least one out of the five needs to be that guy that brings the attitude and brings the edge.
You have to, and I think that Doc Rivers brings his attitude just as a head coach.
Yeah,
his attitude alone changes everybody else's attitude. But I don't know. It's just something about. I don't need to go back to business, but it's something about him. He does not have like any emotion. Like, where's the emotion at in Ben Simmons? Like, you see it in Embiid. Like, this is supposed to be y'all team.
Yeah.
Y'all supposed to be the leaders of this. And
you guys are supposed to be the guys.
Leader than you are.
Yeah, you guys are supposed to be the guys.
Right. Supposed to be the guys that supposed to be the face of this team, to be the leaders of this team, because, you know, Danny Green is a role player. Tobias Harris don't have to be a role player, but he plays that in the system of Doc Rivers. Steph Curry definitely was a role player coming over from Dallas. I don't know how, I don't know why Dallas traded him. I just don't understand it, but I take it anyway. But this is your team. This is your team, man.
Yeah. So one of the fans says Brown is not used to the double teams because Tatum usually gets them. That's true.
That is very true. And I think that was a little bit uncomfortable for him. Even though that he did split the double teams and still scored. But, Jaylen Brown is, like I said, he's a freak of nature. He's a hell of an athlete. I think he can split those double teams. But now
Philly did do a good job.
It's different.
Philly did do a good job of pinning him in the corners a couple of times where he had nowhere to go with that ball.
Yeah.
And I
think that was the adjustments that we made in the second half, because this is the thing that I was kind of concerned about. Like, why did Kemba Walker sat majority of that third quarter? I did not understand that, because he was so good in the first half.
Now we can. Let's talk, right? Let's talk a little bit about Walker and what we, about his, health, because that is a question, man. So I am not a medical doctor, but from what I do know about basic like knowledge, when you get that PLP, that platelet-rich plasma stuff, and that stem cell injections, that to me, that signals that that is a last resort before full-blown knee surgery. They're hoping that stuff, that PLP and that stem cell will help regenerate some of whatever's going on in his knee. Right. And did he look healthy? Yeah, but that's concerning, that, like you said, like, where was he the whole third quarter? Where was he? He was a ghost. He was on the sidelines pedaling on the bike. Like, and
he came in like 1 minute and 30 seconds left into the third. Like, what? I was not understanding Brad Stevens' concept there.
I get that it's early in the season, right? I get that it's still early, but at the same time, it's like these games matter a lot more now, because like this is with the new season,
like 2-game season now.
Yeah, it's what I mean, with the shortened season, and it's not a regular season. So every game that you lose is magnified. So we need him on the court as much as possible. I know they're being cautious with minute restrictions, but you saw what happens when you lose like a leader on the court like that. That third quarter was bad.
And Lewis, he was burnt out in Charlotte, but you got to think about it too. He didn't have anybody in Charlotte.
He was doing it all himself.
He was doing it all by himself. Now he's in Boston. Even if he's on the floor, just in case, if he's not really a part of the offense, but just his presence alone, that attracts defenses.
Yeah.
Is he going to drive to the basket? If he's going to, pick and roll and keep it or pass it off, like his presence alone as a guard will make you want to, have a defensive philosophy for him. So
you have to,
like just having his presence, you could have put him out there as a decoy.
You have to account for him no matter what.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to account for him. Absolutely.
And so here's Mike. Do you think he can last do you think he makes it through or?
But this is the thing that kills me about Kemba Walker, because they said it on the game that when he was in the bubble, he was hurt with his knee, that every time he moved, he thought about something happening to it. Now, when he's playing, he don't think about it as much. So if you don't think about it as much, Kemba Walker, why you didn't tell Brad Stevens to put you back in the game when it was needed? Because y'all was up 12 in the third without Kemba Walker, and that's how we made our comeback. Not having him on the floor.
Oh yeah.
So that really was an effective thing to me. But as far as is he going to be good for the rest of the season, I don't know. I don't know. Depending on what the minute restriction is, and depending on the game, I just don't know if for the whole season. I doubt it. But they're going to go back to this. I mean, I'm not really a big fan of it, but I respect it because of injuries. They're going to go back to load management.
Yeah. I think with him, they're not going to have a choice because of,
right.
I personally think that knee is a lot worse than they're willing to lead on, and it like he is, even though he didn't have a good playoff series, he didn't have a good playoffs last year. He's still like a guy that they need him on the court to compete in the East.
They still consider him as a threat.
Yeah, they need him because Pritchard, the kid Peyton Pritchard, and Nesmith, the other rookie they got, although they've been good, Pritchard, 2 games was phenomenal, and then he fell off a tick. You're riding that rookie roller coaster. You know what I mean? Like you're having to ride that rookie roller coaster with these guys. And it's that, some days Pritchard will look phenomenal. And then the next game he could have 6 points in 20 minutes. It's like,
I think Pritchard is, he's not really an offensive talent, but he is very aggressive defensively. So it's kind of like you have Pritchard in there.
He's developed his offense. And
his offense is definitely developing. At least 25 points, but having Pritchard in the lineup or having Pritchard out there, because Kemba could give you 25 to 30 points a night if when healthy. He can. So when you sub out Pritchard, when you sub in Pritchard for Kemba, then you are actually giving up 25 to 30 points when you have Pritchard in the game.
I just think they're putting a lot of pressure on Peyton Pritchard to be good really quick. And that's a lot of pressure to put on a rookie, especially in a position like that where you need you need him to develop fast in case Kemba gets hurt.
Yeah. That's the truth, man.
But let's look forward to Friday, D. What are you thinking on Friday? Do you think so? You think they'll stick with the same scheme? They feed Embiid and they stay. They're gonna try and work the ball down low to him and let him do his thing, right?
I mean, we're going offensively. I feel like we're still going to be, running what we got the way that we beat y'all yesterday. But I think defensively, our defense is going to change, knowing that Tatum comes back Friday. We're going to have to change our defensive philosophy, or you put our best defender on Tatum, which our best defender is Danny Green, which I don't really mind Danny Green on Jason Tatum just because, Danny Green does get boards for his size, and he does know how to play physical without fouling. So that's one thing I can say, but you definitely have to put your best 2 defenders and at least switch on defense to make sure Tatum doesn't get those open shots.
Yeah, I agree.
Lewis says Tatum is out. I don't think he's out again, though.
I don't think they've made an official ruling yet. I don't think so.
Oh, that's So that'll be so if that's the case, if Tatum does not play, I think we should stay with what we do, but we got to make adjustments on the fly because Brad Stevens is going to make his adjustments on how to defend Embiid, and then this game Simmons is going to have to show up.
Yeah.
Hot take hockey, what's going on, brother? I ain't see you in a while. What's going on?
Hey, what up, HGH? What's up, man? Yeah, no, if Tatum doesn't play, then that's you saw what happened to the Celt. Like he's him and Brown and Smart are the guys, and then
that's your big three.
Those are the guys that they lean on, and taking an offensive talent like Tatum out of the picture is tough. That's tough. Like they especially. So what happened yesterday was they took a guy. They took like Tatum couldn't. He wasn't cleared to play. So they're leaning on guys like Pritchard, they're leaning on Pritchard and Brown and some of these lesser guys to try and pick up that slack. And if they don't play well and pick the slack up, that's what the result happened. That's what goes down. Yes, that's what happens. It's tough to fill that talent void.
Yeah, it's tough. And then with Tatum being out, that's what 20. That's another 30 points that's missing from your lineup in itself. Hey, Key in the building. What's going on, Key?
And John Larson says Doc Rivers is a big improvement for the Celtics staff. I mean, for the 76ers staff.
Oh, yeah, he is, and you can see it in his style. You can see that he's very vocal. Now, Brett Brown was there. He was not vocal. He'll just sit on the court. He'll just sit on the sideline like this.
Yeah.
That's what Brett Brown would do. He'll call the same offense, and it'd be repetitive. You can see it in the playoffs when we played y'all in the bubble in the playoffs. You see that it was no enthusiasm. It was no intensity. He wasn't holding nobody accountable. Shake Milton and MB was arguing with each other. That's when I know it was done. It was done that Brett Brown was going. Once that argument went down on national television, I knew Brett Brown was gone.
There was intensity. It was like there was no enthusiasm,
it's almost urgency.
Yeah, that's what it is. There was no urgency in that Celtics team. I mean, in the Sixers team that we played in the playoffs last year. There was no sense of urgency whatsoever in that team, and you could tell by the end of game 2 that they were ready to just roll over.
We were ready to go home.
Yeah,
we were ready to go home.
And the attitude of the Sixers just seems. I think that's once again that's that Doc Rivers effect. That's that holding people accountable. That's that getting everybody laser focused in one direction and keeping them that way.
We know Key in the building. We know that Ben Simmons gotta go. I'm going to keep saying it on my live streams on the Spotlight Sports Network until
I don't mean to poke the bear a little bit, but you guys did miss your shot at Tatum. I mean,
oh man, we missed our shot at a lot of people in that draft. It wasn't just Tatum. It wasn't just same thing from when we drafted Markelle Fultz. I mean, Markelle Fultz is in Orlando, but hope he gets a speedy recovery because he tore his ACL.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
So Markelle Fultz was playing good basketball in Orlando. So I mean, we really didn't give that guy a chance either. But you got to think about it. It was a different front office.
That was bad coaching too. Like if you
had coaching, and listen, we had Trey Burke.
Yeah,
we didn't use him at all last year. Now he's in Dallas balling.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just imagine if Doc Rivers would have kept Trey Burke and Markelle Fultz. Just imagine if we would have kept them. You could have got rid of Ben. I wouldn't care if we got rid of Ben, but we could have had De'Aaron Fox that year. We could have had a lot of players that year. So I'm not surprised at the Sixers for that draft pick.
I want to ask you, Darian, how far you think the Sixers can go this year?
Honestly, I really think that we could probably go to the conference final. That's the farthest I think we could go.
You think they could get there?
The conference final and lose to Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn can probably go to the conference final, depending on how the seeding is. I'm just saying it just off my brain, but I don't know how the season is going to be since it's a 72 game season and it's like different now. So, I mean, if Brooklyn can make it, that's fine, but I wouldn't mind seeing Boston in the conference finals again. I would not mind.
Either way, I think either way you slice it, the Sixers and Celtics will probably end up meeting at some point in the playoffs.
First, second round, or conference final. Either one, that's fine with me.
At some point, because we're both teams are definitely going to have a shot at the playoffs.
Right.
So I do think at some point we're going to end up seeing each other.
And we both going to see Brooklyn. So we both going to see Brooklyn, one of the other. So we're going to see them in the regular season or we see them in the playoffs, and then we clash after if one of us knock off Brooklyn. And a lot of people kept, even with Lewis saying, how he feel about the Nets big three. How you feel about that?
I was just going to say, so let's kind of swerve a little bit for a few minutes on outside of Celtics and Sixers. Do you think that the big three in Brooklyn can work, or do you think that there's too many egos on that with the three of them?
I think it kind of did work last night. I mean, they did lose in a double overtime to the Cleveland Cavaliers, but I feel like the Nets gave up so much that it might just hurt them. I think if you look at the game, right, I think Durant had 37.
I think
Harden had almost 30, and Kyrie almost had 30. So all three of them had 30 plus points. And I feel like people forget James Harden he can pass the ball.
Yeah, he
scoring
he needs to. He can dish it out.
He can pass the ball.
Yeah,
and that's what I feel like. Who's going to get And I saw it on a highlight. I don't know if you saw it today, but they showed highlights of it when the big three ran in a fast break. Harden was pushing the ball up. He dished it off to Kyrie. He didn't be selfish about it, but if he wasn't Houston, he would have took that to the rack.
He would have gone coast to coast. He wouldn't have passed.
He would have went coast to coast. But now he has two other players like Durant and Kyrie Irving. I think out of Kyrie or Harden, one of them are going to be the facilitator. So it might just work, but I feel like their bench is going to be the problem because you got rid of Karis LeVert and Allen.
Now this is an interesting point, and I do think it is relevant too, because John Larson says the Nets are very good, but they don't have a bench. If somebody gets injured, it's really going to hurt them. And I think I just think the lack of bench production is going to. Can that starting five carry them to a conference championship?
I like Joe Harris off the bench too. He's shooting 55% from the 3-point line. He's going to be a candidate for 6th man of the year as well.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be. They're probably going to be the most intriguing team to watch through the season to see how that. Because dude, I'm waiting for the implosion. I really am, because I don't know if it's gonna cut. See, Durant and Harden aren't the problem for me, because I think those two guys can pull it. I think Kyrie's the one that could really blow that whole spot up. You know what I mean?
He did it in Boston.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He did it in Boston. He did it in Cleveland. It's no different.
Hey, Keith, I know the Flyers play the Boston, and we're gonna whoop y'all's ass tonight.
You're not beating my Flyers, baby. You're not. See, don't make me go and switch to my Flyers gear now, because I can switch to my Flyers gear.
Hey, 3-1 Bruins.
Whatever. My Flyers might do the damn thing. Who knows? I'll be watching though.
But the Sixers are also when they So what was your initial reaction? Like first reactions to them bringing Doc Rivers on, because I thought that was a smart move on their part. I really did, because I think Rivers I think is going to help Embiid stay focused, which is if he's focused and engaged. Because at times when we were in that playoff run with you guys last year, it was his focus. You could tell when he was just disengaged and not not in it. But when his heart and his head were in the game, you see what he can do when he's focused and engaged. The guy's a monster.
My first initial reaction for Doc Rivers, it was a wonderful hire.
Yeah.
It was a great hire. I was sitting up like, yes, like Daniel Bryan. I was doing the Daniel Bryan when we got him, and I was doing that when we fired Brett Brown. Once I see Brett Brown got fired, that was my Christmas gift.
Yeah.
Doc Rivers was Happy New Year. That's what it was. It was the Mummers Parade for me. It was just all the types of stuff. Like you pop the champagne and you just, yeah, that's how it was with Doc Rivers in my reaction. I was just ready to, like, what's next? And then now, once we got Doc Rivers, you see the attraction that was bringing for the 76ers. We was in talks with getting James Harden. That was the crazy part. We was in talks with that. So,
yeah.
But we guys, what Brooklyn was giving up. So
I think the final three teams, I think the final 3 or 5 teams, the Celtics, the Sixers, and the Nets were in there.
Yep. And I think
the Celtics dropped out.
They were trying to give up a lot.
The Celtics dropped out when they asked for Jaylen Brown. When they pushed the issue for Jaylen Brown, I think that's when the C's dropped out of it. Because they didn't want to give up. They didn't want to give up Jaylen Brown for Harden. It
was too many draft picks that that was going to, like, you noted that it was a 3-way trade. So that 3-way trade would have put us in a bad position. We could have lost a lot of draft picks for Harden.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of happy that we didn't go for him. But the fact that he brought that attraction to the 76ers that you want to go play. Now, just imagine if the Sixers would have did this a couple of years back when we had Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler would have stayed.
Yeah.
If we would have had Doc Rivers.
Because I think Butler's biggest issue was the management. It was you know what I mean? It wasn't with the players on the team. It was a lot to do with
who the leader was in the locker room.
Yeah.
And Brett Brown was not a leader. So, but I think for the Sixers, Doc Rivers is definitely a big impact in bringing his coaching staff that he had with the Clippers, like a Sam Cassell as an assistant coach. And you know, Tyronn Lue ended up staying in LA because he's the head coach for the Clippers now. But just imagine, because Tyronn Lue was one of those candidates could be a head coach for the Sixers, which I wouldn't have mind either because he comes from that. He's from that Doc Rivers tree.
From that kind of same mentality.
Exactly. So I wouldn't have minded, but Doc Rivers was a bigger candidate. We went out and pulled the trigger, and I'm good with that.
So let's end it with, let's go back. So back to Friday. What do you got for score prediction on Friday? How you think your boys are going to do? You think
I feel like this is going to be a great game, in my opinion. And I feel like
the answer
this
to this
game is going to go into overtime.
I just had to ask you anyways.
This game is going to go into overtime.
You think so?
Feel it. I think the way the game was played on Tuesday and the way that game could have went, that could have been an overtime game too. If y'all would have made shots in the fourth.
They missed a few key opportunities with 3 or 4 minutes to go that would have kept it close. They missed them. Yeah.
Right. And I feel like it's going to be overtime, and I feel like it's going to be 120, 118 Sixers.
I had a feeling you'd say that. No, I think it's going to be another close game. The teams match up well. Like they met. The biggest problem for them is can they need to. They didn't slow Embiid down at all. If they're going to win, they need to, because you can't completely shut them down. You know what I mean? You can't completely shut them down. But if you can slow them down, then they'll stand a shot. I'm going to say the score is going to be
Embiid down, get him in foul trouble. That's the only way.
Get him in foul trouble early.
And I don't like to put, things out there to be like, oh, this is how you got to be. But just outside of me, not just being a Sixers fan, but as be a YouTube analyst and, talking about basketball. If I am any team in the NBA and you want to stop Joel Embiid, get him into foul trouble.
Yeah. Get him off the court, basically.
Right. Get him off the court. That's a fact.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they have to. If the Celtics are going to win, they have to slow them down. They have to at least slow them down. If you can go from 42 to 24, 26,
right?
That would help.
Yeah,
I'm
it
going
will.
to say
It will help.
this game again is going to be very similar to the score of this one. It's going to be a 3, 4, 5, 6 point game. I'm going to say, I'll say 115 to 108 Celtics.
So we both kept it in the hundreds.
Yeah.
So that's we can put points up as as Sixers and Celtics. We know we can put the points up. So it's all about who has
in
the
a game like this, you know points are going to be scored. Fourth quarter is going to win the game.
Yep.
Whoever plays the better fourth quarter is going to win the game.
Right. And hopefully Kemba Walker gets more minutes in the second half.
It's all about weather in the storm too. Can you weather the storm of those little can you take that little 8-point run is okay.
Right.
An 8 to 10 point run is okay. An 18-point run, that's not going to work. You got to you can't do that.
Y'all got to get back on defense. Once we get them rebounds and we start running the floor, y'all got to get back. That's the one thing I'm gonna give it to the Celtics. Y'all gonna have to get back on defense once we get out on the floor, then we start scoring quickly. Is going to wear the Celtics out a little bit.
And Cab said it too. He said the Celtics bench has got to produce. When the Celtics bench doesn't produce, they struggle. They have got to get points out of the my two things would be the bench production's got to be there and they got to slow Embiid down. If they can do that, they'll be all right. If they get one out of the two, I don't know. It's going to be tough.
Hey, I mean, bench play might be a key in what both of our teams win. It really comes off of bench points because once our starters come out there, we still going to have to try to keep the lead or try to sustain the lead as much as possible. So bench points is going to be big.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game though, man. The first one was good. It was back and forth.
I cannot wait. I got to get me a new jersey because I got to get rid of this Ben Simmons joint. I got to get rid of it. I got to get rid of it. I might have to throw the AI throwback on for the Friday game. I might have to do that.
That black 76er jersey with the red trim. Those are the best. Those are the best 70. They should bring that logo back. That was the best logo. That was the best Sixers logo they had.
I love those. I love those jerseys, man. I love those jerseys. Remember, I don't know if you remember, but remember when they used even like the black ones that they had. Remember the blue one that they had too?
Yeah.
The blue one with that logo. Oh my god.
That logo, that
Sixers
style logo was probably the best logo that they had. That Sixers style logo, that was the best one.
This was the old school one, so.
Yeah. But anyways, guys, that was episode 2 of the Bleed Green podcast featuring your boy Darion from the Spotlight Sports Network, 76er fan.
Absolutely.
We'll have to work on that. We'll have to work. You're just rooting for the wrong team. You got the right color in your background, but you're just rooting for the wrong team.
This is what Bobby. This is why I go through with Bobby in the inbox after the games or before the games. He was just spamming the crap out of me, man. So he would say all types of crap. Like it was like even before the game, he texts me early in the morning and says, "Oh, we ready to kick the Sixers' ass."
Beat your ass tonight. Oh yeah.
So it's always love over here, y'all. So if y'all do want to, check out the stream because I stream the Sixers games on the Spotlight Sports Network. Make sure y'all just go over there and subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, I'll drop I'll drop your I'll put Darian's link in the description box for you guys to go over there and check it out.
Absolutely. So we cover all sports news over there. So make sure y'all check out the Spotlight Sports Network or go to spotlightsportsnetwork.com
and you have the Raiders channel too, right?
I have Spotlight Raiders Talk channel, which is almost at 4,000 subscribers on that channel, which that channel is just it's just blossoming right now. Like I just been working, man. I just been working on both channels and trying to, collab with other people like you and Bobby and stuff like that. Yeah. So this was definitely a great time to be on the show. Yeah, man. It's going well. I think everybody's doing well. Yeah. All right, guys. But that's all we got for you tonight. Fuck the Sixers. We're going to beat y'all ass tomorrow. We're going to beat y'all's ass tomorrow. Have fun. We'll see. Have fun and hold this L. But for now, guys, once again, thanks to Darian for coming on. Thanks to you guys for listening. We out of here for now, though. Y'all have a good one, and I will catch you for the Bruins game in about
3 minutes. Watch your
Go
boy.
Flyers. Go Flyers.
Watch your boy stuff some food and type at the same time and set this stream up.
I mean, I know like in 3 minutes, but I have to say this. Why people get mad when we eat on camera? I don't care.
Oh, dude, I'd be stuffing my face on cam.
I don't care my face with munchies and everything. Listen, don't judge us. It's not ASMR, okay? We're not doing that.
We gotta feel like, dude, this is exhausting, man. We gotta do what we gotta do to keep the energy level up.
You get in our shoes and do these streams and sit in the same spot for 3 or 4 hours, then you'll understand why.
Yeah. All right, man. Darian, thanks for stopping in, brother. Appreciate y'all.
Right, no problem. See you later, man.
Once again, guys, we out of here. Thanks for tuning in for episode 2 of the Bleed Green podcast. And we gone. Peace.